Passover is a Christian holiday, and this is proven by Scripture, New Testament Scripture. Before we begin, though, let's think about what the typical Christian holidays are. Of course, they are Christmas and Easter. But there is nowhere in New Testament Scripture that specifically tells us that we need to celebrate Christmas, that we need to celebrate the birth of Jesus, or that we need to celebrate Easter, which is the resurrection of Jesus. We must separate the holiday from the event that it commemorates, right? There is nowhere in Scripture that tells us that we should be observing Christmas or that we should be observing Easter. But Passover is different. Scripture tells us that everyone, specifically Christians, should be observing Passover. Now, we can find a lot of references in Old Testament texts, specifically the 5 books of Moses, that tells us that we should be celebrating Passover. Over the course of history, this has not carried over to Christians. In fact, both Christians and Jews today look at Passover as if it is a specifically Jewish holiday. To many religious Jews, Passover is also a commemoration. It is a commemoration of the Israelites leaving Israel. Kabbalah is not interested in commemoration. Instead, Kabbalah is always about how can it benefit me. Now, before we get into how Passover will benefit any spiritual being, regardless of what religion you are following, let's first look at the scriptural basis, the New Testament scriptural basis of Christians celebrating or observing or connecting to the energy of Passover. The scriptural basis for Christians celebrating Passover is derived from John 12. Now, don't get me wrong, John 12 does not explicitly tell us that Christians should be celebrating Passover. But if we read the text and the subtle cues within the text, there is no question that it gives permission for Christians to celebrate Passover. Let's take a look at John 12. Now, in John 12, Jesus is entering Jerusalem. The crowd has discovered his supernatural powers. They are hailing him as the Messiah. He is entering Jerusalem on a donkey. This is Palm Sunday, and they are laying palm fronds in front of him. This also occurs right before Passover. And then in verse 12:20, we are told something that is very curious. Moreover, there were some Greeks among those who were going up to worship at the feast, meaning Passover. Now I ask you, why would Scripture bother to tell us this? It makes no sense. It makes no sense only, though, if we are looking at Passover as a specifically Jewish religious holiday. We cannot understand the answer to these questions, which is specifically, why are the Greeks, why are non-Jews going and bothering to celebrate Passover? We can't understand that unless we first understand what a holiday is according to Kabbalah. As I have said in several other videos, Kabbalah has nothing to do with religion. Kabbalah has only to do with spirituality. It has to do with us drawing closer to the source of our soul. It has to do with us drawing closer and closer to God. This is what the spiritual path is all about. So when we look at quote-unquote Jewish holidays from the perspective of Kabbalah, they in fact are not religiously based at all, and certainly they are not about commemorating an event that happened 3,400 years ago. According to Kabbalah, holidays are about connecting to the energy that is available in the cosmos. So there is a Kabbalistic calendar that enables us to understand the different energies that are available all throughout the year. From the perspective of Kabbalah and the Kabbalistic calendar, holidays are about giving us the ability to greater connect with our soul in ways that we would not be able to do otherwise. Now, the idea of spiritual energy to many Christians might sound sort of New Age, but there's also scriptural basis to spiritual energy. And for this, we must look at Luke 8. Luke 8:46 literally says, Jesus said, "Someone touched me, for I know power has gone out from me." To the church, oftentimes this verse is a testament to the power of Jesus' healing other people. But if we look closely, it also tells us that Jesus had some sort of spiritual power, spiritual energy that someone was able to access and extract from Jesus. This proves that Jesus had spiritual energy, and if we believe that we are also spiritual beings, we must know that this verse tells us about spiritual energy. Now, maybe to someone who is a little foreign to Kabbalah, the idea of the year containing different spiritual energies might be a difficult pill to swallow. But we've all experienced it at times. Because during the month of December, we've all experienced the Christmas spirit. But have you ever asked yourself, well, what is the Christmas spirit? And why is it that in December, people seem a bit happier, a bit more united? Why is it that people during that time will greet each other when they might normally walk right past each other? The Christmas spirit is, according to Kabbalah, because of the month of Kislev, the month of Hanukkah, and the month of miracles that is naturally imbued during that time. And the month of Kislev is no different, really, from the rest of the year, where there are different spiritual gifts, different spiritual energies that exist in every different month that enable a spiritual seeker to draw closer and closer to one's own soul. However, if you are unaware of the energies that are available in every month, it is very difficult to take advantage of them. Besides the specific energies that exist in each month of the Kabbalistic calendar, peppered throughout the year are also Kabbalistic holidays. Now, Kabbalistic holidays are there for everyone to connect to, certainly not just Jews. Anyone who has a desire to draw closer to their soul, anyone who is on the spiritual path and is actively trying to do what they can to get closer and closer to God. Kabbalistically, the holidays are there to enable us to do just that. And so finally, now we can look at what Passover is all about. Passover is an opportunity for all of humanity to determine the relationship that we will have with our Satan. So if you are on a spiritual path, we know that the primary task is to overcome our own dark side. For when we overcome and fight against our negative nature, then miracles happen. When we are able to overcome our negative desires and our negative impulses, what we do is we, in essence, create new realities that we are then able to walk into. Passover is a 24-hour window period where this battle is in essence determined for the rest of the year. When we overcome any sort of darkness within us, be it a small desire or something that has ruined us previously in our life, it doesn't make a difference if it's small or large. Every time we overcome our negative nature and make choices that align with our soul, our reality changes. This is why Passover is so powerful, is because it gives us then not only the ability to overcome our negative nature, it then gives us the ability to open up new avenues of our own reality that were never available to us before, because it gives us the power to overcome our negative nature. And when we do that, it creates new realities for our own lives. And so, many times over at this point, I have claimed that the Gospel of John is a Kabbalistic text. And this is just one more bit of evidence that proves that that is correct. The reason why the Christian scriptures tell us that non-Jews, that Greeks, went up to worship at the feast. What that in essence does is it gives every single Christian the ability, the permission to connect to the power of freeing ourselves from our negative desires, for giving us the ability to overcome our negative impulses. It gives us the ability to determine our own destiny simply by overcoming our negative desires. This is the power of Passover. And this is what the New Testament is giving all Christians the ability to do. So I ask you, do you want to create a new reality for yourself? This is what Passover is for. So thank you very much for watching. I wish you guys all an amazing day. I love you all.